we're paneling your wall and your lights aren't in the correct position.
That's right.
So the reason that we need to know, hey, what kind of trim are you doing? How big do we want this? The reason we're working on all of this is so at Rough Ends, we're placing the lights in the correct position.
Welcome back to another terrific episode of Building Brews and Barbecue podcast. Today we're continuing along with our series, The House That Wisdom Built.
Yes.
And I'm here, Vince Longo, with my associate in charge.
Associate in charge. I feel like I'm not, he's the host. I'm just here.
Nathan Walters.
Get into trim.
And today we're talking about trim details. If you're remodeling a home or building a home, this is a big thing. This really starts to establish and define the look of the home.
Yeah.
Especially on the interior, not really from the exterior. Can't see it from there, but on the interior, it's the crown molding, the wainscoting, the beams, the stuff that people remember when they walk into a room.
Yep.
So Nathan, trim us out, baby.
No, I am not going to. He wants to hand this off to me, but what our audience needs to know is our friend Vince is a master carpenter. So I will not be leading this episode. I will not be letting you ask me the questions. You trim us out.
Oh, then you ask me the questions.
I just did. Trim us out.
Okay. Do you like 45-degree miters on your head or what?
On my head?
What? Anyway, so, trim, yeah, it's a huge deal. And like we say from the start, you've got to plan early because you can spend a little bit of money on trim, but you can spend a lot of money. And the first thing you really need to establish, I always tell my customers, especially because I want to be their guide through this. And so I just throw up my expertise all over them, and just to hope that they get enough information that they can confidently make the decisions to be that hero of their story when it's finished, meaning they want to have their friends, family, and not have them come in and say, oh my gosh, did the trim truck throw up in here? Is it too gaudy or is it not enough? I've seen it go the other way where there's just not enough trim and it looks, if you're not going to do trim, you better have modern styling in there.
Yes.
So it plays the part. And I think you can successfully do that. But I think I always start them with, hey, what do you want the finish to look like? Are you more of a stain person where you like the whole house to have stained doors and trim around windows and things like that? Or are you painted everything? Or are you, I want painted everything, but I want this room to have stain in it. Traditionally we see that in home offices or now little nooks or a
wine cellar.
A wine cellar, yeah. And so I try to establish that early on where, if you could envision the style you're going for and what you're trying to achieve in your goals, where do we need to start with trim? Because I can tell you there is a massive difference right now in the cost of a stain grade, which means a piece of trim or wood that can be stained, than a paint grade. Because in paint grade, you can get things that are MDF, which are, it's basically chewed up wood and glued together into shapes, and it's much cheaper, but it paints up beautifully.
Oh, it paints up so good and it's longer. Like there's a lot of kickback sometimes on MDF, but man, when you go to paint it, it's already primed. It's primed. There's no, I'm losing my mind here. Grain.
Gotcha. Yeah. Cause some people don't like the grain.
Yeah. When you paint, and if you're painting pine or you're painting poplar, sometimes when the sun comes through the right window, you can see the grain through the paint.
For sure. And you know why that is? It's because it doesn't feel that way when you get it. But remember, your paint and everything you put on the surface has moisture in it.
Yeah, it's absorbing.
And moisture raises the grain of wood.
Yep.
So people don't realize that if you have to understand your finishes and know that if you're going to go with a type of wood like you're talking about, that it's going to require more prep.
Yes.
It's just like with MDF, your nail holes require more prep. Because when you nail it, if you got real wood, when you put a nail in it, the fibers compress.
Yep.
Okay. But MDF, it's glue in wood. It doesn't compress. So that material that you shot a piece of wood through has to go somewhere and it comes out. So where you hit a nail, it's got a bit of a raise to it.
Yep.
So those have to be hand sanded. But ultimately, you have more work to do on a finger jointed
Yes.
pine or a pine board that you paint.
Yeah, or poplar or something, a hardwood like
Poplar is a
poplar.
little harder, so
Yeah.
that's why we use poplar. It's more expensive. It's still a softwood. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily, it's not a hardwood product. It's still a softwood, but it's much denser and
Yes.
harder than a pine,
Yep.
a yellow pine, or even a way denser than a white pine.
Yep.
White pine's less dense than a yellow pine, and that poplar, although being just a little bit more dense, yeah, when you put it furs up a little bit when you put the first coat of primer on it, but you use like a lacquer undercoater, which sands really well, that starts to come out like glass. So by the time you put your finished coat on it, it looks like a car finish.
Yeah.
But you have to pay a lot more for that.
Yes, you do.
So, the idea is really mapping out where to spend the money to get the biggest bang for your buck and work backwards. And you got to do that early, because if you're going to go with stain, I can tell you interior doors and things like that are so expensive right now. So expensive. Likewise, even if you're not going to get a all wood stain grade interior door, you still have to pick doors for your house.
Yes.
So if you're going to get a paint grade, there still is like a finger jointed pine paint grade door. Or what most people go out and buy, they go out and buy what's called a masonite door, which is basically pressed. It's pressed wood, basically. It's pressed wood, and inside of it, it has cardboard to create the space. It's like a shell on the outside, shell on the inside, on the other side, and in the middle is filler.
Yeah.
And just whatever makes it work.
Yeah, it's like a hot dog. You don't ask questions.
That's right. Don't ask the questions. Then you have a true MDF door, which in our higher end homes that are getting painted, it's more desired.
It is.
And what that is, it's 1 3/4 inches thick, so it's extra thick, and a door weighs like 5 times the weight of a normal
Yes, it does.
pressed wood door or masonite door. But that sucker feels like something. And that's what I always tell customers is, listen, if you've got the money, I really think the biggest bang for your trim buck is to get a solid core, means it's a solid door, MDF for your first floor and just maybe your second floor if your primary bedroom's upstairs or off and then the rest you can dip down and save a little bit of money, but spend the money there because you feel the difference when you grab it.
Masonite can be solid core though. We do a lot of masonite solid core doors, 1 3/4 solid, because you can even go hollow core, which I mean those.
Those are flimsy.
You feel those, but you can go solid core. But you are right, like a true style MDF door, you grab it and it's like grabbing an 1 3/4 oak door.
And what's nice about the MDF doors, as opposed to the people say, well, some of those MDF doors are more expensive than your wood paint grade door. And here's what I say. Well, if you have panels on the door, real wood still moves in the fall and in the spring, just like with your cabinet doors. Real wood moves. And so what I tell them is, hey, you're better off, if you're going to paint it, you're better off with a masonite or an MDF door because that wood does not move.
That's right.
And so your paint will stay more stable. You won't all of a sudden see cracking around the joints and things like that. It stays more stable. Now, I have seen it where people are just say, I've got to have a wood door, a poplar wood door or something. So we'll do that. But if you're going to paint it, the interior panels, the flat parts on the inside, and your panel detail, we get those in MDF. So those don't move and it doesn't cause that cracking. So there are ways around it, but you got to establish that and pick your doors and your door style first, because that's going to dictate what's going to happen with the rest of your trim package. We'll talk about that in a minute. Those are doors. You can pick the different color hinges you want.
Yep.
To correlate with your hardware. If the door's super heavy, you can get ball bearing hinges, and you go from like $15 a pair to ball bearing, which are over $100 a pair, So you do have that. You must be full. You spilling water everywhere. So that's kind of that. Now, wall panel styles. This is something that's kind of been a vein of my existence ever since HGTV came into style with this shiplap. And, listen, it's cool, it's nice, but it's just been overused everywhere. And so I now have a lot of customers saying, I don't want shiplap. And so we're trying to come up with different things we can do to make something look that way, but a little different.
We've been doing a lot of paneling
Yeah, you
Like the
have.
traditional paneling, like European traditional wall paneling is what we've been doing to spruce things up rather than shiplap or things like, or even crown molding. We're going in a formal dining or a study way more to wall paneling.
Gotcha. But not like a beadboard. You're talking
No,
about.
I'm talking about like A6.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
What is A6?
It's a molding that goes on cabinets, but we put it on the wall to make
Is it
little
just a
picture
flat?
frames.
Oh, okay. So it's a so you'll have like flat moldings around the door. So you're making panels basically.
Yes.
But you're filling in the inside of the panel with a little different type of molding to give it a different. Now on the inside of that, are you filling that in or leaving sheetrock to make the panel to paint it?
Depends. Depends again at the price point. So on our more expensive houses, we're using plywood. Right, we're using plywood and covering the seams and doing that. If we're looking to get a good bang for your buck, but not spend a bunch of money, we're putting the moldings directly over the sheetrock.
Yeah. And I always tell my customers, here's the difference. You're right. You get a bigger bang for your buck. But here's the thing. People don't understand this, but sheetrock is a different surface than a wood.
Yes.
Or an MDF or something. And when you have those two different surfaces, they do not paint the same. And so the reason why people use flat wall paint and use a roller is it hides the fact that the paper, again, we're going back to paint is wet. We're putting it on paper, which is the surface of drywall, and it's furring up. And so you do that, and then you go to paint it. It's going to look different. You're going to see joint lines. And, a lot of people say, well, that's not consistent. It's like, yes, if we want consistency, you got to really panelize the entire wall in the same wood type of surface to get rid of that. If not, and this is what always makes you laugh, if not, this goes back to having to install what we call a real level 5 finish.
Oh yeah.
Level 5 finish I think has been, you'll hear that if you're building a home or remodeling. Oh, we do a level 5 finish on our drywall from the drywall subcontractor or vendor. Well, that means a lot different to everybody. Everybody throws that out there. Most people, when they say, I do a level 5 finish, when I ask them what it is, I'm like, oh, that's a level 3 or 4. No, a level 5 finish in our market, to do it right, is you install your sheetrock, you tape all the joints, you fill the joints, you fill the screw heads, you put that on, you automatically use all your glue, things like that, behind the drywall to the studs to make it stable. And then you go from wall to wall, ceiling to floor with sheetrock mud, with giant 8-foot, 3-foot, 5-foot, 8-foot wide scrapes, or I'm using the wrong word, but not pans. Anyway.
I promise you guys, this is the first episode of the day.
Yes. Yeah, not the last. But yeah, trowels basically. They're like 8-foot, but it's a straight edge.
Yeah.
And they're screening the entire wall down.
And how many times are they doing that?
Oh, they're going around the room like 4 or 5 times, letting it dry, sanding it, touching it up again.
Maybe even 5. Hence the name level
5. Yeah, I don't know if that's the name, but I like where you're going with this. I like your style. But then they sand that down.
That's how we've been taught.
Yeah.
In our market, is that the reason it costs so much to do level 5 is he's doing 5 coats.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, that's good to know. Hey, even now I'm learning something. That's a good tip of the day.
Pro tip.
Yeah, and they sand it on, and what that does is it gives the sheetrock a consistent surface. It's not joint. This joint's mud, and then you have paper from the sheetrock board. So that's another way to get it. But then you're spending a lot of money. But you have to do that level 5 if you're going to do a high gloss room. That's the rage is, hey, let's do a high gloss lacquer room from wall, ceiling, all the way to the other floor. Well, if you're finishing sheetrock, you have to do a level 5, and it's got to be tight.
Man, it's crazy how long that takes too. People see it on Instagram. Let's do a high gloss. It's like a 12-week process.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it is a long time to get it perfect, and it's a lot of money.
It's so much money
to do it right. Now we'll have our customers sign something that says, "Hey, we're going to do a basic high gloss paint, but you're going to see all the imperfections." And
always,
this is just a little disclaimer. You're going to see it.
Dirty little secret.
Dirty little secret. You're doing a lot of what you were just talking about before was installing a lot of elevated moldings to make it look different. So are you doing that in the whole house or just specific rooms?
We've been doing it, like I said, we've really been on this like European traditional style home. And so it's been way more about panelings than it even is crown molding, right? Like we're doing some crown molding. Like I think our secondary guest bedroom has some crown molding, hallways maybe get some crown molding, but like any room that we can get some type of paneling in, we've been getting paneling in.
Gotcha. Now, do you have them coordinate that paneling? Does that go along with the type of trim package they're going with? Meaning, there's a lot of suppliers will have pre-curated trim packages, meaning, hey, these are the moldings we sell in our modern series. These are the moldings we sell in our craftsman. These are the moldings we sell in our transitional series, which is the Rage.
Yep.
And these are the moldings we sell in our traditional series. What you used to see, the colonial crown, those, the OG and stuff like that. Do you see people out, or they just come to you, hey, I want this? Or the modern, which is next to no moldings.
Yeah, modern's next to no. I mean, we kind of have found ours that we like, and what we do is we'll go to our Dropbox with our pictures and be like, hey, this is what we've been using on our style of home that's similar to your style of home, and whatever that. Oh, it's P31. Oh, it's A6. Whatever it is, we're like, hey, this is what it is. Okay, yeah, we like that. Let's go with that. So that's kind of what we did, and how we found that is literally me, the trim carpenter, and the vendor had pictures that the designer gave us, and we sat out at the house and kind of looked through moldings. We're like, we think that's the one.
Gotcha. And so the designers are heavily involved with this,
Heavily
dictating
involved.
the look and feel.
Heavily involved. I mean, like I said, definitely
Don't leave it to a builder.
definitely at our business. I mean, we are executors.
Yeah.
We're executors. I have an opinion. I'm happy to give you my professional opinion, but I'm an executor. I'm an executor of the architect's plans. I'm an executor of the designer's plans. I am not a designer. I'm not an architect.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you dictate out there like specific things like, okay, this is how we're going to do the miter return? Like, how are we going to cut the corners? Is it picture frame where it's like this, or is it like a return on itself? Like, do you get that deep in the weeds? Or do you just kind of let
our trim carpenter's miter, and they already do that. We do what we do, and we took it from you, is definitely if we do a house with bullnose, is we get those adapters to where they're raised up to where we can 45 back in, and not have to try to cut base around a round circle.
Yeah, let's talk to that. What Nathan's talking about is, on your sheetrock on corners, there's several different types of what's called corner bead, and that makes a corner. I think what our audience will be really familiar with are the corners that come to a 90, a 90, and it's got that sharp edge. Well, there's been different styles created over the years of corner bead in which, you can see them online if you go to, I'll remember in a second, there's several different websites that have those corner beads, and you can get half round corner beads, different 3/8 inch, where it's a tighter round.
We like that.
5/8, 1 inch, which is bigger, 3/4.
We're doing a 3/8 right now because we saw it at your Serenby house.
Yeah,
it's
so
so perfect for what's going on right now, because it's like people are like, hey, we want traditional and but a little bit of a flair to it, and it's such like a tight, good corner. It softens it. So it's not a 90, but it's not half inch, 3/4 inch.
Where you can still do a 45 and a 45, a 90-degree baseboard or crown molding corner.
Yep.
And there's just a little space.
Just a little.
You can get away with caulk or Bondo on that edge. Now, you get into the 3/4 or 1 inch, it's just too big and it looks silly. And that's why we get these cool transition pieces. It's a piece of plastic. It's glued onto the sheetrock before they put the sheetrock mud onto the drywall corner bead, the half round. And we keep it up from the floor like 12 inches if we have a 10-inch base. So it's 2 inches above the top of the baseboard. And that chamfers back in. And it makes this gorgeous look. Because if not, on these big bull nose, the rounded corners, what trim carpenters have to do is cut a 22 and a half.
Yes.
And then you have this little piece on the flat, which is another 22 and a half and another 20. It like goes around the corner. It looks horrible to me.
Good luck caulking correctly and painting correctly the top of it. Doesn't matter how hard you try.
And over time, it pops out.
Yep.
The homeowner hits it with the
Vacuum cleaner.
It chips, it breaks, it cracks that corner piece. Bad idea.
Man, I went blank on a word. Corner. How do you guys do your? I bet you do it this way. How do you guys do your corners on base? Cove.
Corner. What do you mean?
Like you the way you cut it, or your guys, isn't it coving? Is it cove?
Coping.
Coping.
Gotcha. We do inside corners.
Our guys are coping.
Yeah, inside corners are coping. Now, what that means is instead of an inside corner, you're just cutting a 45 degree and a 45 degree, and you're hoping that your walls are perfectly 90 degrees, which they're not.
Dirty little secret.
Yeah, they are not.
They are not.
and even if they are, sometimes the drywall will get hokey.
Yes.
There's something going on, and it doesn't make that perfect 90 degree corner. So your trim guy cuts a 45 on this one, and he puts it together, and it's wide open.
Yep.
Or it's open on the bottom, tight on the top. And so with a cope, it's faster too. You just stick one piece directly into the wall.
Yep.
The other piece that butts into it to make the 90, you just put a back cut on it. You cut it at a 45, but then you take the saw and you cut it back. So it makes a really sharp edge with the profile of the molding. And then you cut it like an 1/8 inch long or a quarter, heavy eighth, I call it, long for the wall. And when you push the baseboard in, it just barely compresses that tip. So it makes any imperfections, it fills it. And that's the cope technique to installing the trim.
That is how our guys are trimming inside corners.
Oh, that's good. So it's nice and tight.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really good. We're talking about that. We're talking about windows. So the idea,
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When should people discuss trim?
Well, that's what I was just. It's funny, man. You like read my mind. You're like in there. You're wandering around. You're banging around in my head.
I don't want to be in there.
No, yeah. It would be scary, man. It's so scary in there. It's like, what is going on in here? Obviously we talk about it early. We talk about not only what trim packages. How do you want your trim cut? How do you want those corners? The reason why we love to use the rounded corner bead is we will not use square corner bead when we're dealing with an arch. Any arch, it just looks hokey. It looks too sharp. It hurts your eye. It softens everything. And so you won't find square corner bead unless it's an ultra modern home.
Yeah.
But in ultra modern homes, they don't have arch.
It's not going to have
arches in it. Yeah.
Typically.
So we discussed this early, and all the way down to we have them fill out a sheet that says per room how they want the moldings cut. The windows, are they picture framed? Is there a skirt board? Is there a window sill that returns back?
Casing them.
That's right. And a lot of times some of our really good architects will draw the details, or at least say, hey, use this detail for all your rims. Use this detail for all your trim around.
So in talking about it early, like this is what I want to let our listeners know as they're getting interest on this. Hey, trim's down the road. Why we need to worry about it? What have we been saying that? What have I been saying we've been doing a lot? Hey, we're doing panels a lot. Okay. What do you end up finding in panels? Art lights, sconces.
That's right.
Lights. Okay.
They got to be centered.
We got to center these. We have to set your sconce lights at rough ends. Trim is 3 stages later. You do rough ends, then we do drywall, then we do floors, then we do trim. We're paneling your wall and your lights aren't in the correct position.
That's right.
So the reason that we need to know, hey, what kind of trim are you doing? How big do we want this? The reason we're working on all of this is so at rough ends, we're placing the lights in the correct position.
That's right. Not only that, think about we put all of our outlets in baseboards on the first floor, but we want that outlet to be perfectly centered on the face of the baseboard, not on the top detail.
Right. That's right.
And so we need to know the height of that baseboard, and we make a template,
Yep.
a sample with the baseboard, with a piece of the wood floor, and we make a mock-up.
Yep.
And that goes on site with the center mark, and we can figure out exactly the height off the subfloor that the electrician needs to set his outlets in the walls so it hits down the road in the center of the trim.
Yep.
And all that's dictated based off of what's picked early on.
Yep.
I think we're starting to come to the end of this. I feel like we're missing a ton
We're missing a touch.
as it comes to trim. Trim is massive.
Trim's like our foundation and sight one. Like I know we joke, but we could legitimately sit around and talk about trim for hours, and maybe we do. This though, for our audience listening, listen, DM us, ask us deeper questions if you want. There's a good chance we do a deeper episode. This episode is to kind of get your brains thinking, to think about the whole entire build. But again, I'm going to continue hammering this through the whole series. Guys, if you're looking to build a custom home, these selections are made early.
Yeah. How about, we talked, one big thing is coffered ceilings. People love coffered ceilings or beams.
Yes.
Old wood beams in their
Yes.
kitchen. You need backer for that in the walls.
Framing.
i.e. framing stage.
Yep.
So you need to know
Where your
on.
arcane lights going in the middle of the
where
coffer
can
ceiling.
lights, how do you transition trim? How do your cabinets
Yep.
work with these beams in the kitchen, in your family room, built-ins around the fireplace? How do your beams transition off the fireplace?
That's right.
It's like, what mantle? Oh my Lord, here it goes. It's all flowing. What mantle do you need to put around your fireplace? Yep. Is that stone? Is that wood? If it's wood, how deep of a pocket you got to make? How do you build it out? Oh my God.
How far does it have to be away from the combustible fireplace?
That's right.
that
Yeah.
you're
All
doing?
this has to be planned out. And so, yes, we could talk for hours about trim, and I could tell you my favorite mantle moldings.
It
and
just
everything
is.
else.
That's what I was saying. It's so hard because if most of our listeners are listeners and they're not watching, guys, we could sit in here and almost bore you to tears with the amount of trim profiles that are out there, the knives and the profiles. And yeah, I bet you have favorite profiles. I have, but if I start saying, hey, we like doing double stack base and we like using CR7, people will be like, excuse me?
Excuse me? CR7, is that a jet?
Is that a plane?
Is that a plane?
Is that a plane? Is Chet?
Because it feels like you're charging me the
CR7?
price of a plane for
That's
this.
right. That's right. But again, it's another thing of, listen, when your builder in any market is talking to you about trim and you haven't broke ground, there's a reason why.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And so, I think with that, you started touching on it. Hey, DM us, leave us a message. Hey, tag us on your favorite photo of trim. Tag at, what are we? At
Builders Brews and Barbecue.
Building Brews and Barbecue. We'd love to see them. If you would like and subscribe to our YouTube page, and give us a review on wherever you listen to this for your podcast and on our YouTube page, we really appreciate it. And if you have any ideas for future episodes or people you'd like for us to talk to, please let us know. We'd love to talk to them.
Do you want us to do an episode on the house that Ruth built? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Could be.
I would love to, but it's fine. We'll keep doing houses.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, with that, thank you so much for listening today. I'm Vince. This is Nathan, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Building Brews and Barbecue.